Hey everybody, welcome to Cultured. It's your homegirl, it's your host, Bromley. Today we're going to talk about gender roles and we have two special guests, so stay tuned. Let's get to it. So like I said, guys, we're going to be talking about gender roles and we have two special guests. And these guys are two medical students here in Sofia, Bulgaria. And our first guest is Lola Bello.
Hi guys.
She is known as the Michelle Obama of our Bible study group, and she's gorgeous. Whenever she walks in, I remember we used to just admire her. She was like, "Oh man, the model girl walking in."
No.
She's super tall, guys, and gorgeous. So thank you, Lola, for being here.
No problem.
Our second guest is known as Philip Imarhiagbe. Did I say that right? No. Do you want to say it?
Imarhiagbe, yes.
Imarhiagbe. So I got a couple of things to say about Felipe. His name is Philip, but we call him Felipe. At least I call him that. And he is I would say he's the best singer I've heard live ever.
But there's you,
No. He's absolutely. He made the songs Waymaker.
I didn't make them.
Let me say it. He made the songs Waymaker, Are You Ready? Ooh. All famous here in Sofia, Bulgaria. So give it up for Felipe.
That's ridiculous.
Nah, it's not ridiculous. I bet a lot of people will say that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how do you guys feel? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm great.
You guys excited? When you heard that we're going to talk about gender roles, what did you guys feel?
Yeah, I was excited. It can be a bit of a polarizing topic, but it is nice to hear everyone's opinions on it. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. What about you, Felipe?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it can be quite touchy, but
yeah.
I mean,
all right, let's get to it. Let's get in it. I pray that this becomes controversial. Let's go there. But yeah, so I wanted to look up the definition for gender roles. I know a lot of people know about what it is, but I just wanted to look it up and give a definition for it. So according to the World Health Organization, gender roles are defined as socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for men and women. So, what do you guys think? Where do you guys stand when it comes to gender roles? Like a brief introduction. Lola, do you want to?
Like, do you mean like what I think gender roles are, or?
Yeah. What does it look like for you, gender roles?
Okay, well, I get my definition of gender roles just from like the traditional gender roles, how a woman is supposed to be at home, like she's supposed to take care of the house, and a man is supposed to go out and work to bring in an income to feed the family and look after the family financially. Like that is my view on what gender roles are.
Okay.
So women being the caregivers and men being the guys that go out and the ones that take in all the finances.
Yeah, like the bread maker.
Yeah, the bread.
The bread maker?
Bread maker?
No.
Breadwinner.
Breadwinner.
Men being the breadwinners, women being the carers of the home.
Okay. What about you, Felipe?
See, I like to think that I move quite readily away from that thought, just because today's society is just it can be. It can be quite, what's the word? It can be quite difficult to define who is the breadwinner, especially if, again, going based on Lola's point of view, based on whether the woman earns more or whether the man earns more. So for me personally, I just think that I believe in gender roles in a very general perspective, but not in its depth.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like to. I'm gonna get deep into this. But do you feel like based, is this all these things that you guys just described, was it based on something that you noticed in your upbringing that you're like, okay, you know what, my parents did that and I don't really agree with that? Or you're like, oh, my parents did it perfectly and that's how I see myself carrying it forward into my family life?
Okay, so for me, when I was growing up, my mom's always worked, so then the whole gender role thing doesn't really work there because she's always worked alongside my dad. But in terms of the home, she did take she was the carer of the home. So when I was younger, she did the cooking, the cleaning, all of that. Like, she used to be very domestic, like baking the bread we ate for lunch. Very, like, she made everything. But then as I got older, say into my teens, she stopped doing all of that and almost took a more like breadwinner type of role in the house. Like, she got very into business and was very business orientated.
Okay.
And was doing that. So I kind of would say, like, when I was younger, I had the traditional kind of gender roles upbringing from what I saw. And then as I grew older, that whole thing kind of disappeared.
Yeah, so I just want to give a follow-up question. Did your parents both agree with that a little bit?
No. Yeah, so I feel like that might have been where there was issues, where my mom was more of the breadwinner than my dad. Okay. Yeah, and then my dad moved to Nigeria, so he was working there. So obviously she's almost like the single mom of the house, so she was doing all of it, like the working and stuff. And then we had like an au pair or an auntie that would stay and look after us. So she took on the role more of a breadwinner, I would say.
So,
like man of the household.
So do you feel like, what did you get from those, everything that you went
So
through?
what I've learned from it is that I think if I was to get married, I would be more submissive. Yeah.
Wow, that's really different from what you hear nowadays. Like,
yeah, because I feel like from when I had from recent conversations I've had with my mum, she's very goal orientated. She's like she's a boss. I would just describe her as a boss, like a businesswoman. Okay. And I feel like she was happy doing the whole go to work, but mainly come home, cook for the kids. Like, she was very domestic. Like, we would go to school, but we'd come home and she'd still homeschool us and cook and all of that. And I think after doing that for about 10 to 15 years, she didn't enjoy it as much. And she was like, this just can't be life. And she became very business orientated, very just, I don't want to say manly, but because we're talking about gender roles, how you would see a man to be like, go out, business, work late, leave early. She became more like that. And I feel like my dad didn't like that. Okay. So I believe that was the cause of tension in their marriage. So I believe, like, in my marriage, even if, because I am very similar to my mom, I would just be smarter about the way I go about it. Wow. So I would be more submissive. I wouldn't just go do it regardless of how my husband feels. I would be more submissive to what he says.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Wow, you dropped some gold right there. But yeah, what about you, Philip? What was your upbringing like, and how did that influence?
In terms of my upbringing, I think for me, both of my parents were or played active roles. So in terms of raising me, they were both there, but not in the sense that they were both there with their time, less with their time, but they were both there, as in, like, there wasn't one dominant parent. Right. But I mean, you could say that, yes, my mum did more cooking and cleaning and things like that and tending after us when we were younger, but it never really looked away from the effort, the energy, the passion, how active my dad's role was in the family household. Yeah. So, say for example, my mum would be available to pick us up from school.
Okay.
But on days where my mum's working and my dad's working, my brother, who is only 2 years older than me, would pick me up from school as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not saying that we were of age to do that, but in the time, that's what we had to do in order to get by. And so it was all very much a family unit. And so the reason why I would say it has motivated my kind of opinion and thoughts about the entire situation is just because I know that if my mum's not there, my dad can carry, because there have been situations whereby my mum's not been available, say she's flown out for some business or whatever it is. My dad's still there, able to cook. He's able to clean. He's able to take care of all of us, all of us boys. But also there was, I think it was also based on the fact that there was during our upbringing, we were always taught to be able to fend for ourselves. So, for example, we were taught to cook, clean. There were major points where we would cook for ourselves. You know, we'd ketchup sandwiches, like ketchup and rice.
But
Do you see what I mean?
do you think that was mainly because you're all boys anyway? Because I do know in mixed, where you have boys and girls, from the people I do know, when I ask who's in the kitchen more, they will tend to say their sisters over their brothers. Like in my house, like I do know when my mum's cooking, she'll say to me and my sister, come and watch me. Not to say like we all have chores, we all cook. But I do know like there's more, not pressure, but we're called more to the kitchen in comparison to the boys. Whereas yours is an all boys household. So maybe you all have to go into the kitchen because who else is going to go?
You see, that's a thing. You say we all have to go into the kitchen, but I think for us, it wasn't very much my mum. My mum wasn't the driving force to tell us to go to come to the kitchen.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was my dad.
That's very interesting.
That's amazing.
But unfortunately, I mean, you guys might say, wow, that's amazing. But for us, it was awful. But the reason why it was so bad was because, again, my mum being the only woman of the house, she was treated like an absolute princess. At least I think.
Man, that's amazing.
And so it made it such that
you had to
we
do a
would
lot
say
of stuff.
she took liberties, but it was the best thing that could potentially happen because, again, we learned how to cook. We learned how to clean.
Yeah.
We learned to take the weight off of her
I see.
from a very young age. Some would say, I mean, some would call that child abuse now, but when it comes down to it, we learned to fend for ourselves from a very young age.
Well, you know, like when you were saying that, in my case, I had a brother, like I have one brother and then it was me. And my mom never, and I'm Indian, so like your mom requires you to, like in any Indian family, you have to get in the kitchen, like if you're a girl. But my mom never asked me to do anything in the house.
Really?
I am telling you.
Are you the youngest? Are you the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
How about you?
Yeah, and like before I came to Bulgaria, my mom taught me a chicken curry, and that was all I knew about cooking.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I could peel onions. That's what I could do before.
I'm really shocked at that because a lot of my Asian friends are very they cook a lot. Their parents make them go into the kitchen.
I know. So the thing is, my parents are very traditional parents. That too, but that was one thing I felt was didn't fit in because my mom never ever asked me to come help out. I think maybe she knew at some point I will learn these things when I go out on myself I don't know if she knew that at that point, but like I never had to. So
and would you say now that you've come out here, you cook a lot more?
Oh yeah, I would die otherwise. So bad. But I wanted to follow up with you. Like, do you think there was something that you wanted to change? Like now that you said that, like you described your family upbringing and.
Was there anything I wanted to change as in the way I was brought up?
As in when it comes to gender roles, like is there anything that you wanted to change?
Oh, okay. I would say no.
Okay.
But I think there's always something that you could potentially change. Just because, like, say for example, obviously coming from an African household, my dad wasn't always happy that my mum would strain herself. She would go to work, she'd work full time, she'd take care of the kids full time. And so would he. But it's the fact that it's his wife that's taking care of the kids. You know, it's his wife that's going to work. And back there, they were auxiliary nurses. Yeah. So they were auxiliary nurses. Those are nurses based HCA, the healthcare system that you have in the hospitals, right? while they were balancing HCAs, being HCAs and having 2 kids at the time, they would also balance studying as well. So they were studying to get a profession. And again, at that time, my dad wasn't just an auxiliary nurse. He was doing multiple other jobs, like trying to make sure that we could get by. And at that time, we were staying in the council house. So for me personally, I would say no. No, there isn't anything that I would want to do.
That's amazing. So if you look at the society right now, do you think we're at a good place when it comes to gender roles?
I feel like we're working towards being in a better place. In regards to gender roles, I feel like as a society, we're kind of scrapping the whole gender roles thing. Women really want equality nowadays. They want it to be they want to be treated the same as men in terms of pay and things like that. And even men, you see men not appreciating how only women get maternity leave for a certain amount of time. They believe that they should get paternity leave as well. So I feel like as a society, we're scrapping gender roles and we're working to equality across the board, basically.
So do you think that's it? Like, do you think it's a good thing?
I personally think it's a good thing.
Okay.
Which might contradict what I said before about wanting to, like, in my future marriage, wanting to be a bit more submissive and take on a traditional role. However, that being said, that just depends on like the type of conversations I have with my future husband. So it's like, if he's fine with me working and stuff like that, I want to be working in a society where I get paid the same as a man, not less. So I am all for equality. How gender roles will be in my house will just be based upon the conversation I have with my husband, and I'll just be more submissive to his opinions than like be so stern on mine.
So you feel like between that gender roles conversation within the limits of marriage is going to be something that is between you and your husband, and not. But in general, you like where we're going.
Yeah,
society in the society. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Philip?
For me, I don't like the way society's going. The reason why is because I think it's going in a positive. It's going generally in a positive kind of trend, but the way to which it is going, it's fluctuating. So in the sense that I think, like Lola said, women are fighting for equality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you also have groups of women who will be more than happy to, say, for example, if we're talking about relationships, they'd be happy to date and go on what we call free meals. Now, a free meal is a meal on Monday, a meal on Tuesday, a meal on Wednesday, you know what I mean, and so on. And the problem with all of that is that, well, it leads to a situation whereby someone's losing out, you know. And I think in society today, the definition of being male or being a man has been completely and totally lost. And that's not saying that women are taking the definition, but I would say women are defining what a man is in society. Or women have the definition of what a man is in society.
I think I agree with that, actually.
The reason why I say that is because, say for example, I mean, if you were to ask me what I believe a man to be, words like macho and strong and assertive and, you know, leader and all these things would scream to play. But the word leader there in today's society can't be used for just the male role. It'd be used for both. Now, if you read words like assertive, strong, diminutive and all these things, you see more of a negative connotation to it rather than a positive.
Yeah.
So in society today, I don't know how to describe to my son, for example, what being a man is, because at the end of the day, I feel like I've been almost sensitized. Now, I already know there are many men that are awful. Like I already know that they're awful, especially in the way that they lead. But from the upbringing that I've had with my dad, like he's led the household, but he's also on every single one of his, you know, his opinions has always consulted my mum.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I respect that.
That's
And
good.
I would say, although not every opinion, the reason is because in the spur of the moment, when you need to make a decision for the family here and now, both my mum and my dad are able or wise enough to make a decision for themselves. And so because of that, I don't know, I just think it's all out of love, you know, and I think today's
That's my
society
way, yeah.
is moving away from love.
Yeah. I when you said that, I remembered, like, because my upbringing is not very like Felipe's upbringing, because my dad is the judge and jury in our house, but like he said how his dad consulted his mom for everything. That's the first thing my dad does. Like anything, any decision that he has to make, he makes sure that like he calls my mom and then lets her know about it. And then I feel like, you know, people ask like, oh, you know, people tell me that I'm kind of like maybe like a little bit of a dominant, maybe character, maybe. But for me, I personally think that because of the way I was raised, I don't feel like if my husband's like my dad, even if he's like dominative, I would be able to to be submissive, because I've been raised in that way where I know I've seen like how respectful my dad is to my mom. And so for me, it's not like I'm like, I can take either role. Like, you know, how you described your mom and dad's, which is amazing. And so you said like, you know, I'm going to segue into this point. Like, you know, you said in relationships, it's kind of hard right now.
Yeah.
So you've been in relationships, both of you have been in relationships before.
Yeah.
What do you say? Have you noticed any negatives when it comes to, and did that affect your relationship in some point? So guys, we're gonna leave you on that note for part 1 of our gender roles talk. We're gonna pick up from that question next week, which is gonna be our part 2 of our gender roles talk. And Felipe, Lola, and I are gonna dive deeper into this topic, and we're gonna talk about our personal lives a little bit more. So stay tuned, guys. Also, if you guys have any thoughts or opinions or questions that you want to share with us, do text me on the Instagram page, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're listening to the podcast on the YouTube channel, do subscribe. So like I always say, stay healthy, drink a lot of lemon juice, do Zumba, keep smiling, and be blessed, guys. I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye-bye, you guys.